So we spent the last several weeks walking through the Limitless Living Health Action Plan. We've educated, we've empowered, and we've encouraged. You've built tools, you've practiced rhythm, you've installed structures. But there's one truth we haven't explored yet. The life you want cannot be built by the person you used to be. And that's the true key that we'll discuss in this episode. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Dwain Woode, MD Live. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. If you're new to me, that's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We are creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives, which says that we're not allowing anything, nothing from outside or nothing from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We are showing up with our best selves, our best health, and our best plans for our life. We're breaking through those barriers, we're breaking through those borders, we're breaking through those things that constrain us, and we are presenting and we are going to be successful. If you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments, because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and with some music. And let you know that I am happy that you are here in this space. If you do have questions as we move throughout the episode, go ahead and drop those in the comments and put a Q in front of it so that we know that that is a question that we need to get to as we get through our episode. And over on our monitor, we've got our Keto Mojo and my contour that we're going to take a look at here in just a minute so you can see what's been going on with my blood sugars. And then right down below, you'll see that is my Dexcom Clarity Report, which we will take a look at here in just a minute. We'll take a look and see what's been happening with those blood sugars since I ended my fast last week. If you've been following us, you know that we have been on a trek with our Limitless Living Health Action Plan. And as a part of that, there is a significant number of things that are going on the channel. We've got the 100-day walk to consistency that we did earlier in the year, but that continues even to now. We also have our strength, strategy, and mindset series that's going on right now, and we are on day, I think, 65. You want to make sure that you join us. It is part of our MOVE campaign. That's metabolic optimization via exercise. And it is an amazing way for you to get involved and for you to begin doing those things that you need to do to be successful in terms of your health. We've got some, let me just pull it up so you can see what we've been doing. We've been doing some bench presses. We've been doing some curl and presses. Let's see, at some point down there, I'm on the floor doing some, there we go, some dead bugs, right? So we're trying to improve our strength. We're trying to get toned, right? We're talking about the things that we need to do to be successful in our health. So make sure that you get out there and that you join us, because the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, there are several components to that, and we want to make sure that you are taking advantage and that you are being involved in all of those areas. And that is really, and we'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a minute, that really is the key to the things that we do and the things that will continue to improve our health. So let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at blood sugars. And just for a note, they just came out with a new Libre app for those of you who've been following. And so this is actually this is what it looks like now. It's a new app, and we'll come back and we'll do a show where we kind of walk through that. If you've been with us, you saw the other shows that we've done where we walk through several of those apps. But anyway, so that is that's what my blood sugar is right now, 92. And you'll see down here is the graph, and you'll see that the blood sugars for most of today has been right around 100 and then dipped below 100. It has not gone below 92. We expect it to do that when we start our fasting later this week. And then let's go over to the Dexcom, and there is my blood sugar right now. Let's get this out of the way. That's what my blood sugar is right now, according to the Dexcom. And once again, if you scroll down here, you'll see what the blood sugar has been over the course of the last day or so. We've been in this week, as you know, has been our celebration week, right? So we've got birthday, my son's birthday at the beginning of the week, my anniversary at the end of the week, and so we'll see what's been going on with blood sugars. Let's go ahead and let's hop over and take a look at what's happening over here with my monitors. So I've got my Keto Mojo and I've got my Keto Mojo and I've got my Contour. So let's go ahead and get our handy dandy container. I need a couple of strips. 1, 2, blue for the ketone, and of course brown for the blood sugar. And give me just a second because I've got to grab a lancet. All right, and so I had to go and grab a couple of lancets. And these are the ones, if you have been kind of following us, I don't use the lancing device. So let's go ahead and just open this package right here. And so that's what those look like coming straight out of the package. Let's drop a couple there, and I'll keep 1 or 2 here. Okay, and then here is the strip for the Contour. Boom, boom, boom. All right, and let's go ahead and open up the Keto Mojo, and we'll be able to compare to see what those blood sugars are. And you know, a lot of people like to know what one monitor says versus another, so you get a good chance to see that here. Okay, and at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and open this one as well, because the ketone one is the one that usually gives me, I'm not sure why it does. See, look at that. The blood sugar one I opened quite well. All right, and then let me change this view for a minute. So here is my lancet, and you see I just opened that one up and grab a finger, and I usually use this one. I don't know if you could see that dark coloration, discoloration right there. That's where I normally check my blood sugar. The same thing on these. And so I recently started using this one, and it is what it is. And ow, ow, ow. And so hopefully, yeah, there you go. A brisk flow right there. Get that one started, and we need another drop for the Contour. And let me get this back up so we can compare. So 92 is what the Keto Mojo says, and 103 is what the Contour says. And then right there, you'll see that is the blood sugar from the Dexcom. So let me go ahead and take this strip out, pop this one in, and we need one more drop of blood to get that going. What do you think the ketones are going to be? If you're out there, just drop that in. What do you guess my ketones are going to be right now? I've not been fasting for several days, as you'll see when we take a look at my blood sugar. So, all right, so look at that, 0.1. And so let's walk through ketones again. So for those of you who have been watching or you want to be in ketosis, so blood sugars or ketones that are less than 0.1 are considered, sorry, not 0.1, less than 0.5 are considered normal. If you are 0.5 to 1.5, you're considered nutritional ketosis, and above that is considered therapeutic ketosis. So let me go ahead, I'm going to actually pull that into the app, and we can see one of the graphs, and we can walk through that just for a brief moment so you can get an idea of what that looks like. Okay, so that's synced, and let's see. All right, so here we are. So this is what you're seeing. So glucose, and you'll see right about here. So glucose is in the brown, it's 92, and that's what the Keto Mojo says. And my ketones are 0.1, and then the glucose keto index is 51. And so that index, that big number that you see there, is a division of the glucose by the ketones, but it is a calculation. So let's go ahead and do that calculation together. So let me go ahead and grab my calculator. Boom, boom, boom. Come on, there we go. All right, so let's get back here. right? And so it was, actually, let me go back there. So 92 and point 0.1. So 92 is what the blood sugar is, and I've got to convert it. So I've got to divide it by 18 and then divide that by point 0.1. And so that's where I get the 51 from. So if you're looking at that number, you say, hey, wait a minute, 92 divided by point 0.1 is not 51, but that's how you would get to that number. It is a calculation. And now let's go ahead and hop over and take a look at my blood sugars on the Clarity app. And the Clarity app is the app that I use most often. They are improving one or the other, so you may see a little bit more. But for right now, it gives me the numbers and gives me the things that I need so that we can look at this together. So you'll see there my average blood sugar is 121, and that's for the last 14 days. For the last 14 days, average blood sugar 121. I usually tell my patients, clients, I want their blood sugar average to be between 100 and 120. So 121, pretty close. My glucose management indicator, which is a surrogate, which is an estimation of what my A1C is going to be, is 6.2. So if I were to get an A1C based on these numbers, that's what I would expect it to be. And according to this, I'm in target 99% of the time. So that means that most of the time I'm in the range that we've set, and the target right now is 70 to 180. If you've not seen one of our other episodes as we walk through that, go ahead and take a look at that. So we talk about why we have that range. If I change to a 90-day average, we'll see what those blood sugars have been running. So over the last 90 days, my average blood sugar is 115, right? In keeping with what we talk about, wanting that that average blood sugar to be. My glucose management indicator, 6.1. And I'm in target 98% of the time. And you see that there as the target being anywhere from 70 to 180. Okay. If we take a look at the actual numbers that we've been having over the last several days, here we are right here. 133 is what our monitor says we were. And so let's just kind of scroll back through 133, 120s, 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 130s. This is today, right? So that was lunch. And what did I have for lunch? I had 2 hamburger patties with 2 slices of cheese and some nuts. Right? So we went from maybe 118s right down here at lunchtime and spiked up to about 147, I think is the highest, based on what I just told you. And then down here, I had to change my monitor because my Dexcom ended, and so I had to change that. So it took me about an hour, a little over an hour. It took me a half an hour to realize that it was there, that I needed to change it, and then finally I changed it, so it took another half hour for it to come back. So that's why you see that roughly about an hour and 10-minute gap. And then down, coming into the morning, I was in the 1-teens, and here is, as you know, what I call the toothpaste effect, right? So we were down in the 1-teens, and then brushed my teeth, and then it spiked up to 127. And we probably would have seen a little bit higher right here, except that that's when I actually changed the monitor. And then going back into the rest of the morning, up to midnight, we see there, and going into yesterday, we're in the 1-teens, 1-teens, 1-teens. And so yesterday was an interesting day because, well, this entire week was an interesting week. So we had birthday at the beginning of the week, last week, and then kind of celebration. And then we had anniversary at the end of the week. That was Saturday. And then yesterday we took a bunch of kids from our church out to the water park, right? So let's talk about, let's look at real life, right? So this is real life happening in real time. And so let's see, what do we have here? So 1-teens is what you're seeing as we go through there. 130s, 130s, 130s. And this, well, let's talk about where I came from. So here's the morning, 130s and 140s, 130s and 140s. And right about here, right? So this was around lunchtime. And so we started eating here. So there was nachos with, what was it, about an hour, a little over an hour. It took me a half an hour to realize that it was there, that I needed to change it, and then finally I changed it. So it took another half hour for it to come back. So that's why you see that roughly about an hour and 10-minute gap. And then nachos with chili, right, and salsa and sour cream, I think is what we had. And so that spiked up here, right? You see that went up to 170. And my body was like, okay, I got you, man, I got you. So it came on down. And then we went into the water park. And then at the end of the water park, we came out. And here I had a popsicle. See, so you see that there went down to 1 teens, popsicle, went up to the 190s. And then within, so that was 5:30, 5:43. At 6 o'clock, so about an hour, less than that, 45 minutes later, up to 194, and then back down to 648. So within an hour, 548 to 648, we're back down into the 120s. Okay, and that's what we want to see. We want to see, well, we don't want to see that high right there, but hey, it's a popsicle, and we want to see those blood sugars coming back down very quickly. And that's what happens as your body begins to heal. Now, going into the rest of the day, right? So this is now Sunday, and then Saturday was my anniversary. So that's why you see some blood sugars up here. We went actually. If you've been following us, you know that it was our anniversary, but we ended up going to a friend of mine. Her dad passed, so we actually spent that day with them. And so it was an interesting day. It was good to see the folks. And so anyway, so here we are, 140s, 150s, 150s. This was at the repass, right, as we were kind of hanging out with the folks there. And so you'll see that there from about 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So about 3 hours, almost 3 hours of those blood sugars being up. And then for the rest of the time, in the one low 100s, 1 teens, 120s, 130s, right? And then going into the previous day. Now this was the day I broke my fast. So let's take. I don't know why this thing keeps coming up. This was the day I broke my fast. So let's see. We were in the 100s, 1 teens. So I broke the fast right here at about noon. Right in here. So blood sugar was. Let's see, 1 o'clock, sorry. Right about here. And so you saw the salad, and I forgot what else we had. I think we had some curry chicken, the salad with some grilled chicken in it, some nuts. Go back and watch that episode. And so we went from the 1 teens and spiked up to about 160, 170, and then began coming back down, 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 down into the low 100s. And so when we talk about the things that we eat, that really is kind of the idea. We want those blood sugars to, so we want those blood sugars to recover as quickly as possible, and we don't want them to go up that high. Okay, all right. So that's blood sugars. That's what we've been doing. You see that there, and I do that because I want you to see in real time what blood sugars can do, what blood sugars do, and how you can, based on what you do at home, what you do in your lives, what you do in your eating process, how you can affect those. Okay? So that is the reason for going through all this, because this is not, I don't want this to be theory for you. I want this to be something that you are saying, okay, I understand more now what goes on in my body. That's why I'm a big proponent for monitoring. Not that monitoring does anything in terms of fixing it, but it helps you to understand what's going on in your body. Just recently, I've been talking to a lot of people about beginning to monitor their numbers so that they can see what things like food, what things like exercise, what things like stress and sleep and pain will have on their bodies. And then they're able more easily to make changes and to make adjustments in what they do for themselves. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and let's hop over to our discussion, and I think this is gonna be a good one. This is gonna be a great discussion as we move through this space. Let's do that. Let's do that right now. All right. So tonight's episode is a little different than what we've been doing. This isn't just another step in the journey. And as you know, we've been walking through the Limitless Living Health Action Plan. This is the capstone of it all. And what does that mean? Thinking back to, ancient times, or not necessarily all that ancient, but times when they used to make gates and doorways in cities, right? So they would build an arch, right? So that's basically the doorway, and they would stack the stones on top of each other. And when they got the stones all up, then at the top they would put what was called a capstone. Okay, a capstone. And the capstone was the thing that covered it all. And if you followed us on our 100-day walk to consistency, you remember us talking about keystones, right? So the keystones are those things that help to hold things together, but the capstone is what caps it off, what puts the finishing touches on it. Over the last several weeks, we've walked through the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, pillar by pillar, habit by habit, mindset by mindset. And if you've been here with us, you haven't just watched, you've grown. You've stretched, you've started things, you've come alive in places that you didn't understand before, or places that you didn't used to feel before, or places where you frankly felt stuck. But every graduation asks the same question. Now that you know, what will you live? And so this episode is about the real shift, the one that turns tools into transformation. Because limitless living isn't just a philosophy. It's a rhythm, it's a structure, it's a system, it's a blueprint, as you've heard me say several times. It is a checklist. It is a set of guardrails. And tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what it takes to build the life we've created and the life we're created to live, not just on paper, but in action, in momentum, and in mastery. So that's what we're talking about as we move through this episode. So let's talk about a few things. So the first one is why behavior changes fail. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you something real. And most of us have lived through this. Have you ever started something with fire? Maybe it was a new health plan, a 72-hour fast, right? A 100-day consistency challenge. And you did it for a while, and you felt unstoppable. You went to a conference, you went to something at your church, somebody invited you somewhere, you started a new business, right? You went to one of those infomercial things, and you're like, man, I'm gonna do this. And you felt like nothing is going to stop me from doing what I need to do. And you only had to find one day a week. You only had to find whatever it was. And then you got home. And you found yourself right back where you started, just days before today. Or you found yourself there weeks later. And that is what usually happens at the beginning of the year, right? Not everybody, but a lot of people will jump on to what are called New Year's resolutions. And New Year's resolutions are those things that we do, right? Those things that we do that we say, okay, this is where I'm heading. And yet, when we get there, a couple of weeks later, we end right back up where we thought we weren't going to be. And so that's the question. Why behavioral changes fail? Why do they currently fail, and why don't they succeed? It wasn't because you didn't care. Because after all, you took time and you went, and you were excited. You felt it. It wasn't because you didn't want it enough, because we do. And it definitely wasn't because you weren't trying. Because I'll tell you, for me, I have, for years, if you've been watching us, I've tried. And I wanted. And I even knew what to do. Here's the quiet truth that most programs, most systems, most people you talk to don't tell you. And you want to hear it? The programs, the processes, the systems, they don't work because our identities don't change. Wow. Because if I'm going to do something, if I'm going to have a change in things that I've been doing for years, for decades, for some of us all our lives, we can't keep operating with the same identity. We were trying to operate the same internal software without trying to change the operating system. We were trying to run the same system without running new behaviors. We were taking new actions with an old operating system, with old machinery, and just like incompatible software, the system crashed. When the identity stays the same, it doesn't matter how powerful the new action is. Because when identity and behavior are in conflict, identity always wins. This isn't just philosophy, this is science. This is called cognitive dissonance. When your actions and your behaviors and your beliefs about yourself don't match, your brain goes into this kind of stressful experience. The stress creates tension, and the easiest way for the brain to resolve the tension is to sabotage the new behavior. Because the brain says, I don't like being in this space. So you say, I'm going to fast this week. That's my plan. I've been watching Dr. Woode. I've been on the shows. I've been seeing people. I've been seeing the results that they're getting. I'm going to do it. But if your subconscious still whispers to you, you know what? I'm someone who always breaks my fast. So I'm not sure how this is going to work. Guess what happens? The fast breaks you before you finish. You commit. I'm going to walk, right? I've been watching 100-Day Walk to Consistency, and I've been seeing it, and I want to do it now. But your old self-image says, I've never been consistent. And your brain, brilliant at preserving identity, pulls you back into the patterns that feel familiar. And here's the hard truth. Behavior change without identity change is like planting a garden on concrete. You might see a sprout, but nothing stays, nothing lasts. And if you want real transformation, the shift isn't just about what you do, it's about who you believe you are. And that's why you see, right? You got to see it here. You see it right here. You see it on the wall back there. It says limitless living, powered by. You may have missed it, but it says limitless living, powered by the new you. Yeah. Because the lasting change doesn't happen when you try harder. It happens when you believe differently. When your behavior reflects your identity. When that happens, you don't have to force consistency. It becomes who you are. And that's why most plans fail, not because they're flawed and not because they're doing something wrong. It's because they don't address the operating system underneath. Because what comes out is what's coming from inside. And until we change what's in here, then what comes out is always going to be flawed. I want you to listen. Until we are able to change how we see ourselves, until we are able to change what we believe about ourselves, until we are able to address the underlying issues that drive us in a direction that's different from what we say we want, we will keep trying one thing after another, after another, after another. We'll get some wins sometimes, but it won't last. So structure is an important point. And if willpower isn't enough, and behavioral change isn't enough, then what does work? And the thing that works is what's called an identity-aligned system. An identity-aligned system. This is a structure that doesn't just tell you what to do, it reflects who you are and who you are becoming. You've heard me say the phrase rhythm, alignment, and structure. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. I talk, I teach, I formulate my ideas based on the Triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. When you hear me talk, that's what you're hearing. Education, alignment, education, empowerment, and encouragement. We educate with the shows, we empower with the tools, we encourage with the community. But when I'm looking at a patient, when I'm looking at a client, when I'm looking at myself, in order for me to have made changes for myself, I had to have rhythm, alignment, and structure. I remember when I was leaving residency, one of my faculty members, after years of being at the school, and let me say this, that for the entire time that I was working through medical school and residency, and now getting ready to leave residency, I had one faculty member say to me, "Hey man, I'm concerned about you." This was at a time that I think at that time I was probably 260 something pounds. I hadn't quite gotten to the 280 pounds yet, or 87 pounds. And here, I want you to listen to this. Based on the degrees, based on the classes, based on my understanding of physiology, I supposedly had all the knowledge. I had the systems. But why did it not stick? Because I needed an identity-aligned system. So let me say this again. A system that works long-term is one that reinforces the vision of who you want to be. It is the person that you are stepping into. It speaks your future identity until your current self catches up. Whoa, 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 whoa. I've told the story, and if you've heard me, you may have heard me say it. And recently I was in Birmingham talking to a group of men about the power of community and the power of having someone around that speaks into you. Dr. Callens was a guy who went to our church. And I was in Birmingham and was having difficulty with school. In fact, at that point, I was out of school. And I said to him one day, I said, "Doc, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I can do this. I can't make this through." And he said to me, remember, I'm not in school. I haven't finished a degree. In fact, I was far from finishing the degree. I didn't know how I was going to get back into school. And he said to me, Dr. Woode, that was the phrase, the word he called me. He said, Dr. Woode, you are a physician. All we have to do is get you the degree. So a system that works long term is one that reinforces the version of you that you want to step into. It speaks your future identity until the current self catches up. It does three powerful things. Number one, it affirms who you are. It simplifies what you do. And it protects your energy when motivation fades. Let's break that down a little bit. So, affirmation. When your system is built around your identity, your habits become declarations. I was in a group, I guess it was about 4 years ago now that I started the group. I'm no longer in that group. And I remember I was in this conversation about what I was going to be doing in this space. And we had been doing, videos on the show. And actually this August coming up is going to be our, fifth or sixth anniversary? Fifth anniversary? One of those. And I was talking to them about the things I wanted to do in this space. And once again, right? So I'm not talking about community right now. I'm just talking about being aligned. But this is also an example of community. And I remember one of the guys in the group said to me, he's like, well, what you want to do sounds great. He said, I don't want to knock what you want to do because it is a beneficial idea and a beneficial thing. But he says, but you are an endocrinologist who struggles with diabetes and who struggles with your weight. Talk about that. And I'm going to tell you that I recoiled from that idea. I didn't want to touch it, didn't want to go there, didn't want to be in that space. For lots of different reasons. But the moment I decided that I was going to talk about the thing that aligns with who I thought I wanted to be, and the thing that was me, my passion for what I did skyrocketed. You can wake me up at 2:00 in the morning now, straight out of sleep, and say, talk to me about whatever in the space. And I'll talk. You'll have to stop me from talking. Why? Because the thing that I'm talking about is so ingrained in who I am. The stories I tell about me. The changes that I've seen in you. It's not anything that I've got to think about or research. And when your identity aligns with your behavior, when your identity aligns with your plan, when you've created a person that is the version of you that you want, then the sky is the limit. So that's an affirmation. You are walking, you're becoming. You're not just fasting. You are someone who prioritizes metabolic health. Every time you act, you reinforce the belief, this is who I am now. Every time you walk, metabolic optimization via exercise. Every time you show up, every time you push through, every time you say yes, every time you don't let other things stop you, you are affirming the new you that powers your limitless living. So number one, affirmation. Affirmation. This is, we're talking once again about this identity aligned system. Number two, simplification. Identity aligned systems reduce friction. There's no friction there. You don't have to debate or decide in the moment because the decisions were made in advance. The future me almost comes back and says, hey, this is who I am over here, so let's behave in a way that gets us here. You already knew who you were. You already know who you are becoming. So the path becomes clear. I'm heading over there. We were at, I was trying to think where we were. I think we were in London. And first time there, so we didn't know where we were going. But from where we were, we could see the Eiffel Tower. Well, that was Paris. Sorry, we could see the eye. Not the Eiffel Tower. We can see the eye, right? We could see the eye, and so we're trying to figure out how to get there. And what we kept doing was, okay, that's it right there, right? So we couldn't go that way because we knew we had to go in that direction. So when we got off the bus or we took the train and we ended up somewhere, when we came out of the subway and we came up, all we did was we turned. Okay, we got here now. Which way is the eye? Okay, it's over there. That's where I'm heading. So when we know where we're going, the path becomes clear, and there is always a way to get back there. When we are off course, we're heading over there. So simplification. And then an identity aligned system protects you. Motivation will waver, life will get loud, but your system stands guard. It anchors, it reminds, it keeps you safe. Your recovery plan keeps you in rhythm, going when the world tries to pull you back. I was talking to someone just today, and we were talking about lifing. And one of the points they were making is that, man, I was doing it. It was the best that I'd done in years. And then life started. And life will start. One of the things that always amazes me, and my son loves basketball. I love it. I like it too, but he loves basketball. And it occurs to me often that at the end of the year, or the end of the season, one team goes home with the trophy. Of the 30 teams, one team goes home with the trophy. And there are teams that have never, ever, I should say ever. So in 20 years, 30 years, they've not won the season. But they keep playing, and they keep drafting people, and they keep spending millions of dollars to get players. Why? Because they are not concentrated on the now. They have a system in place. And the athletes who are playing, they show up for practice. They show up for games. They show up for the finals, even though they did not win last year or the year before or the year before or the year before that. Why? Because they are basketball players. Their identity says, I'm a basketball player. Their life structure says, I'm a basketball player. The things they do revolve around basketball because they are basketball players. Well, wait a minute, you didn't win the championship. Yeah, but I am a basketball player. Life is happening, but yeah, I'm a walker. Yeah, but right now there's a lot of stress going on, but I am a limitless living member. Yeah, but there's this thing happening over there. But yeah, I am doing what I need to do to improve my metabolism. There's no friction. It is protection. When my motivation is gone, I can still move in that direction. You're not trying to change your health for a moment. You're building a life where health is the byproduct of your alignment. I tell people in the office that I am not a blood sugar manager. I'm not here to control your blood sugar. That's not what I do. I'm here to help you stay alive as long as possible and to be as healthy as possible. That's why I'm here. A byproduct of that process is that your blood sugar gets controlled. A byproduct of that process is that your weight goes down. A byproduct of that process is that you have better cholesterol, better blood pressure, you have less fatty liver, your chances of heart disease goes down, your chances of stroke goes down, your chances of getting certain cancers goes down. It is a byproduct of the change that we are making in our health. And here's the shift. We stop asking, how can I force myself to change? And we start asking, what would someone like me naturally do? What does someone who's living limitlessly do in this situation? You've heard me say, we're talking about limitless living on the go. And so I ask myself that question. What does limitless living look like in this situation? And I'll tell you, I've been in some situations where, I really had to ask the question, what does limitless living look like right here? And so the question is, what does someone who's interested in their health look like? What do they do in this situation? Someone who values their health, someone who prioritizes their peace, someone who's living a limitless life. What does that look like? They plan, they recover, they don't panic when things go astray. They have rhythm. And that's what we build together. So as we are talking about that, I want you to keep in mind, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the levels of your systems. But if those systems are not powered by identity, things don't go well. But if those systems are powered by the new you, you don't fall. You flow. So how then do we build identity into behavior? And how do we build a behavior into identity? How do we make those two work together until they are one and the same? And it's not a mystery. It's a method. There are 3 layers. Get a pen, get a piece of paper, write it down. And they work together to rewire your operating system. Number 1, I anchor the identity. We anchor the identity. We start with a clear, concise declaration of who we are becoming. Not who you were, not who you are in your previous self, but the identity that you are choosing, the person that you are heading to. That's where we start. I am an exerciser. I walk as a part of my metabolic optimization for metabolic optimization via exercise. I live limitlessly. I am someone who protects my blood sugar. I'm someone who finishes what I start. I'm someone who builds rhythm before relying on motivation. Then reinforce it with microproof, right? You don't need grand acts, just consistent votes for the version of you that is the one that you want to enhance and strengthen. Every balance bite, every check-in, every walk, every pause, every fast, these are all tasks, but they are also identity confirmations. And repetition rewires reality. If you want to see where what your thoughts are about money, look at what you spend money on. If you want to see what your thoughts are on your health, look at the things that you do. If you want to see your thoughts on that relationship, look at how you treat it. Because the places that you are spending the most time are the places that you are enhancing. Those are the things that are getting stronger because your brain is being rewired. Every time you go around, every time you say yes, every time you go there, that's what's getting stronger. And here's the beauty about all that we do. It does not take a lot. In our Strength, Strategy, and Mindset series that we're doing right now, we've challenged people to come up with a 5-minute circuit that they can do at any time. And the reason for that, number one, we want it to become something that they don't think that, okay, I've got to go do this. I've got to go hang out there. I've got to go to the gym. No, something 5 minutes, I can do it at any time. I can find 5 minutes. And so, if you're traveling, you're at a hotel, you're staying with your family members, you're going on a trip, you're out camping, you're wherever you are, 5 minutes. Get up, do some arm stretches, right? So forward reaches, do some arm twists, do some squats, do some cross-body leg swings. 5 minutes. Because your identity is tied up in the repetition of the things that you do. So number one, anchor the identity. Repetition does that. Number two, build systems that reflect the identity. Once you identify what you want, and once you've declared what you want, you need systems that validate it. If you say, I am a strength builder, then your calendar better reflect that that's the case with movement appointments. If you say, I'm a mindful eater, then your grocery list and your meal prep becomes evidence. You can't just believe it. You need environmental congruence. Your kitchen, your tech, your reminders, your playlists, the people that are in your space, your rhythms, all of them should say the same thing. This is who I am now. This creates identity, scaffolding. It creates the structure, a structure that holds you up while the new you gets strengthened. Right down the street. Right down the street. This just came to me. Right down the street. They're building a gas station. And I was talking to somebody about building. And I said, well, when they're building stuff, why do they wait so long before they put certain things up? And he says, when we do concrete, it takes, I think he said 28 days for it to cure. So I see them out there, they're hosing it down, they're winning it, and whatever they're doing over there. And sometimes I'll see them put the form down, right? They put the wood and then they pour stuff and it's there for days. Why? Because they've put a structure in place, the scaffolding. They've put the form there that helps hold it together while the thing is being formed. So you need to create some identity scaffolding. And then number three, you want to embed recovery into the framework. Real transformation never happens in a straight line. That's why every identity shift needs a recovery protocol. Why? Because even when you are, quote unquote, on the best, every now and then, you will face some old pressures. Life will start lifing. But here's the truth. Missing a day doesn't break the identity unless you let it. So you want to install a recovery response, a 5-minute mindset walk, a journal prompt. What happened and what I do next aligns with who I want to be. What does the person that I want to be do in this situation? What does limitless living look like right now? You have a mantra. Off track doesn't mean off course. This is your self-repair protocol. It tells your brain, even in failure, I am still this person, and that is powerful. And you saw me do the quotes, right? Because a very smart man says, I don't fail. I either succeed or I learn. Everything that happens to you is an opportunity for you to learn something. When you do this, when you anchor, when you align, and when you work on recovery, your brain begins to live from a deeper center, not from a fragile plan, not from a fragile emotion, but something rooted in identity. That's how systems sustain, because the system isn't external anymore. It's you. And once the system is you, you don't have to start over anymore. Would you like to know how to apply the Limitless Living Health Action Plan? You know how to do that? Oh, yeah. So you've done something powerful over these last several weeks. You've walked through the pillars. You've connected with your health. You've awakened something deep inside you, a vision for your life that's bigger than survival. That's no small thing. Kudos to you. Congratulations to you. You have seen some amazing changes in your health, amazing changes in your weight. Your blood sugars are better. You felt better. You're making connections mentally that are amazing to you. But now comes the part that determines everything. Will you just know the path, or will you walk it? Will you do that every day with consistency, with clarity, and with confidence? Because information doesn't change your life. Integration is what changes it. I went to a conference several years ago, and at the end of the conference, the speaker was making a call for us to own the stuff that we had learned. So it was a men's conference. And he asked an important question that I want to ask you right now. He says, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, down the road, when your family thinks of you, or when you think of yourself, will everybody say, well, you know, I remember when Daddy, Mommy went to that conference years ago, when they walked through the pillars of the Limitless Living Health Action Plan. I remember they did that thing. And when they finished and they came home, nothing changed. Or are they going to say, man, I remember when Daddy went to that conference. I remember when Mommy walked through those pillars. I remember the things that she was doing. And after that, life has never been the same again. It's about building the kind of life where the default setting supports your health. It supports your purpose and it supports your future. You don't need more willpower. You need a system that reflects your identity and makes success sustainable. You need a framework that adapts to the real life, that adapts to the chaos, to the curveballs, when life starts lifing, when adulting is happening. And you know why most people never get there? Something I've seen over and over and over and over. People learn the principles, they get excited, they make progress, then life hits. And because they never installed the right support system, they slide back. Not because they're weak, and not because they're lazy, but because they were trying to live a limitless life inside of life that was still limited by old rhythms, reactive schedules, and fragile routines. And that is not what we want. And so here's the invitation to you. Our family, our Limitless Living family, is poised and perfectly suited for you. We are walking through this together. You see what we do. This isn't a course. It's not just content. It's a transformation system designed to help you do the real work and integrate the Limitless Living Health Action Plan into your daily life for good. And so my encouragement to you and my invitation to you is to come, to join us, to be in this space. We are here every Monday at 7 p.m. Central. And you see, we talk about health. We talk about the real stuff that's going on inside of you. We talk about the real places where we go. And those moments that nobody wants to really admit to. We focus on identity alignment. We focus on structure and support. And we focus on real world resilience. And of course, community accountability. Because the success that you have doesn't happen in isolation. And this is for the person who's ready. If you've made it this far, you're not just curious. You're committed. You're not here for dabbling. You're here for change. You've got the vision. Now it's time to build the vehicle. If you're tired of starting over, if you're tired of trying to piece it all together on your own, if you're ready to live from your identity and not just towards your goal, then Limitless Living is for you. It's where we take everything you've learned, turn it into a momentum, into mastery and metabolic transformation together. So here's my encouragement. Don't let this just be another thing that you tried. Let this be the moment that you decided. You are no longer someone who's fighting it out or figuring it out. You are someone who is living it. Because when your identity is aligned and your systems support your story, you become unstoppable. Welcome to your next level. Let's go build it together and let's live limitlessly. Oh, wow, wow, wow. I love this. I love, and you guys hear me say that for all the things we talk about. Because this right here, I'm going to tell you, for me, this was the thing that clicked. This was what eventually had to happen for me to make the transformations I needed. And for me to be able to even now in this space be here talking to you. I could not have this conversation years ago. I could not have it because of doubt, because of shame, because of the places I was in my head. But when identity matches who I think, when you think who you want to be, it doesn't matter. I had someone say to me in the office, and this is, you know, and this is the fun thing about what I do now. I had a patient come and say to me, and it was a pretty big fella, right? And he said to me, he said, man, when I first walked in years ago, and so our practice now is 15 years, 14 years old here in town. He said, when I first walked in, I said to myself, man, he is somebody who understands what I'm going through. Because I was, at the time, as the endocrinologist, you walked in, I was 285 pounds, 287 pounds. And the beautiful thing about the space that I find myself in now is that the stories that people tell themselves are the stories I've told myself. The places where they hide are the places I've hidden. The behaviors that they use to buffer are the behaviors I've used to buffer. The weight that they struggled with is the weight I struggled with. The blood sugars, the complications from their diabetes that they see are complications and blood sugars that I've seen. And so when I talk to people, when I'm able to hear them and listen to their stories, my heart goes out to them because it is something I get the pain that is sometimes there, the pain that is so the pain that's so problematic that we sometimes make a joke of ourselves so that nobody else does. We create scenarios in our heads so that we don't have to face it. And so the identity that you have, that you're creating, that's what powers limitless living. That right there is the key to all that we are doing. It is the transformation on a daily basis that continues to push us in a direction that says, this is now who I am. And I invite you to come walk along with us as we go through that pathway. Awesome. All right, so I do see some of our community members out there, and if you have questions, go ahead and put those in the comments. Come on, we want to make sure that we're answering those questions. We want to be working together. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to hop over and say hello to some of our community members. Let's see, and I do see. Let's see. Let's get rid of this one. All right, so I see Gian. So Gian says, hi, doctor. Let's do that. There we go. Okay, and then Cornelia says, hi, Dr. Woode. Gian and LLG. Glad that you are here, Cornelia. Thank you for coming through. Gian says, kudos to you, doctor. Your journey since your residency is so inspiring. Well, thank you, Gian. Says, hi, Cornelia. I'm waiting for you, sis. I learned my affirmation from LLG. I don't know even what is affirmation for me. Thank you all. Gian says, whether win or not, I just keep playing. Playing is so inspiring. I will do that like. I will do like that. I just keep doing and showing up in LLG and live and share together. Thank you. My takeaway today is just keep doing it together because we have an LLG system and we share that system. Correct. We anchor that identity. Steve says, hello, ladies. Hi to Steve from Gian. Steve, what did you eat today? Today's lesson is amazing. Thank you, doctor. Cornelia says, hi, Steve, Dr. Woode. The things you are saying are so insightful. I want to snatch the Bible out of other people's hands just to throw it at you. Well, thank you, Cornelia. Thank you. And Cornelia says, thank you. Gian says, thank you, Gian. And Steve said, Gian, I had wings, jello, macadamia nuts, and creme brulee. Yeah, creme brulee. I'm coming over, Steve. I want some of that creme brulee. I'm coming over. All right. So let's. So my thought. And remember, everything that we do is couched, and you heard me say it a little while ago, everything that we do here is couched in our Triple E formula for success. It is that we educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the blogs, the podcast, the show. We empower with the tools and all Limitless Living Health Action Plan, the HEAT model, the COPE model, the Balanced Bites. All of those are tools that we're using. And you'll hear more about the Limitless Living Accelerator, actually, which will be coming up, which is what we use to be able to implement the things that we talk about. Because education is great, but if it is not actionable, if you don't apply them, then it doesn't work. That's why our plan is called the Limitless Living Health Action Plan. The action plan. The action plan. It takes your actions to make it work. You can have all the knowledge, but if you're not infusing it with your behavior, then it doesn't work. And then we encourage with the community. And I encourage you, if you have not joined our community yet, right? And that was a big push, right? That's a big push for the structure that you're creating. Don't go this alone. Can you get some success? Sure. A lot of people have done things where they've not been in community. But I'm telling you, if you want to be successful, long term, make sure that you are in community. And I invite you to join this community. We do our meetups once a month. We do our after the show. Like after the show, we're going to be getting together and talking, seeing where everybody is, supporting each other. In our community group, where we post what's going on in our days, in our lives, where we get to support each other. You want to be in community. Make sure you're joining. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. And when you show up, tell your story. Let people know where you are. Your story, your journey, as flawed as it is, as problematic as it is, as imperfect as it is, your story is the exact answer to somebody else's question. And when you keep your story to yourself, you don't allow them to find the answer to their question through you. So when you come, tell your story. Let us know. Drop a comment. Let us know what's going on. And then tell somebody else. Remember, we talk about community. Community doesn't just mean the things that are beneficial for me. It means that when I'm getting benefit, when I've discovered who I am, when I have rhythm and I have alignment and I have structure, when that is working for me, I then say to somebody else, come along with me. Let's help you now improve where you are. Because as you improve and you improve someone else and someone else improves that next person, then the community gets better. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. So show up, be in the space, take action, and let somebody else know that there is benefit to what you're getting and that you are in community with us as well. Hey, we will be coming back tomorrow as we start our fast. So join us Tuesday around 1:15 or so. Usually after my meeting on Tuesdays, we'll be starting our fast. So you get to see what I'm going to eat for the last, and I'm not even sure what they're bringing in tomorrow, but we'll get to create something as my last meal. We'll talk a little bit as we go through that. And then on Wednesday, we'll do our first official check-in for the week on the channel here on live. And then we'll talk again on Thursday and Friday as we do our complete review of fasting. And you get to see what I will eat for breaking the fast. You get to see what I started with. You get to see what I break the fast with. And then on Saturday, a video from the vault. And then on Sunday morning, this week in review. And then next week, Monday, we'll be right back here for Dwain Woode MD Live. We'll be talking about some changes in our schedule over the next couple of weeks. One thing that I do want to say, for those of you who are going to be traveling, right? Because it's now time when everybody's kind of getting out and getting into the world and doing things and hanging out with family. I want you to remember two things. Number one is that your primary reason for being alive and staying healthy is to enjoy and to connect. And so as you're out and about, enjoy the connections that you're making with your family, with your friends. As you're traveling, meet people. Say hello. They'll be surprised when you say it. Right? But I want you to get out there and connect with people, because that is one of the domains of health, that connection that you make. And then as you're going through those spaces, right, take with you the components that we are learning that you can do. That's why we have you do a 5-minute circuit, right, that you can do at any time. That's why we talk about balanced bites. It's not a diet. It can be created and crafted wherever you find yourself, whatever restaurant, whatever person's house, whatever hotel, you can still be thinking in balanced bites. And that doesn't mean that you can't have popsicles and ice cream and cake like I did over the last couple of weeks, because, hey, that's what we do. And then come on back as we continue our trek to be healthy. Hey, I'm always excited when I'm here with you. I'm always glad to be in the space. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health in your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted. And We are living limitless lives that's powered by the new person that we're creating. We are not letting anything stop us, nothing from outside or nothing from inside. We're breaking through the barriers. We are breaking down the obstacles. We're not letting anything confine us. We're showing up with our best self, our best health, and our best plans, and we are going to be successful. So go live a limitless life, and we'll see you at the next episode. Good night, everybody.